Well, this is it then, over the top. Yes. What's he like on the needle, this bloke? Has he got a steady hand?
Hello everyone, welcome to Motor on Beat Beat. My name is Alan. I'm here to find the final resting place of... He was, well, in his time, he was probably the most important comic in the late 50s and early 60s. Tony Hancock. It's St Dunstan's Church in Cranford, and it's in a bit of a weird spot, to be honest. I'm going to show you the church. Look, it's there. The problem you've got, that they lead you to come down to it there, but you're not allowed to drive down anymore because there's building works going on. You come in through a subway from the estate, and it reminded me a bit of Harry Brown, the film, where the kids used to mug all the people. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's just a bit strange, put it that way. And near to where Tony Hancock is, there's a poor unfortunate guy sleeping on the bench there under some sacking. So it's a very, very strange vibe about it, you know. Anyway, let's get on and find where his ashes have been interred. It's a very sort of wintry, windy day. Very eerie, actually, to be honest. So let's go in. This is the entrance. So there is a plaque to him, but I don't know where it is yet. We'll find it soon. His father ran the Railway Hotel, and he was a sort of comedian and entertainer on the side, so that's where Tony Hancock got all the introduction to it, I guess. And he was in the RAF, which led him to go into entertainment industry. Trying not to speak too loud because the guy that's on the bench is down there, and I don't know, I just hope Tony Hancock in down there. It's very sad, isn't it, really, when they're sleeping on the bench, probably on drugs and things. And he had an enormously successful career because he was on the radio, and his show was called Hancock's Half Hour. He did over 1,000 episodes. Started on the radio and then went to TV, and the scripts were written by Ray Galton and Alan Simpson. And yeah, it was so successful that when the show was on TV, the streets used to empty. I think it was the only comedian that did that. But the problem he got with Tony Hancock was that he kind of self-destructed. Example, in his show he had Bill Kerr and Kenneth Williams and Sid James, and Sid James became a very prominent part of it. They were like a double act together, basically. What happened was the show was highly successful, and he tended to cut people out of his life, did Tony Hancock. He tended to feel, look at it, oh, there's lots of little squirrels. Can you see the squirrel? Oh, just running there. He tended to cut people out of his life, like Sid James. They were like a double act together. Sid James was the more worldly, and Tony Hancock was the more gullible. But the thing was, he's scared of the fact that he wouldn't have all the glory, I think, and he wanted Sid James out. So in the 5th series, he suddenly announced that to his friends that Sid James was going. Poor Sid, he didn't even get told personally. He got somebody else to go up and approach him and tell him that he wouldn't be starring with Tony Hancock anymore, which is a silly and cold thing to do, really. But the 6th series came out and it was renamed Hancock instead. So he wanted to get all the glory, basically, didn't he? He was so successful that he was the first person to get paid £1,000 for a half-hour show. And don't forget, we're talking, you know, early 60s, so that was an enormous amount of money. And I think most people know there was the Radio Ham was a very well-known episode, but the biggest one that he made was called The Blood Donor, and that has always been renowned as the most prominent one that he did. On the 26th of June 1968 at his Bellevue Hill flat, He killed himself with vodka and amylo-barbitone tablets. He was found the following day with 2 notes, which he had the pen still in his hand. And one of his notes said that things just seemed to go wrong too many times. He was a depressive person. There's no doubt about it. You know, whatever he did in his life, he was just dour about it. And the thing was, he was so talented, but he often used to say to people, "Do you really think I'm funny?" That's even when he's successful. So it shows you how unconfident he really was. Everybody who worked with him, he got rid of Atty Jakes in the 50s. Later on, Spike Milligan said he was an extremely difficult person to work with. And he said he tried to get rid of everybody around him. And eventually, that included himself, of course. Very sad. Willie Rushton, the actor, his agent, was Tony Hancock's brother. And he was in Australia, of course, and he decided that they would bring the ashes back for interment here. And on the plane, Willie Rushton was sat there with the urn by his side, and suddenly somebody wanted a seat. So the crew of the plane said, "It's okay, we'll put Tony Hancock in first class. He'll have a seat of his own." And they did. And when they went to collect him at the end of the flight, there was a single red rose and a note that said, "Thank you for making us laugh." Well, that's sweet. Nice gesture by the staff, wasn't it?
Do you regret now that you broke the partnership with Galton and Simpson?
No, because I think, as a matter of fact, it's probably been a very good thing for all of us. After all, we worked for about 10 years together, and we mutually learned. There's a lot of conversation, there's some press reports about the writer does it all, or the comedian does it all. This is all nonsense, because really it's a thing that happens gradually. One of the main things, of course, is to share a similar sense of humor, which we did from the start. And as I say, we worked together, and I think fairly successfully for this long time. And they knew, they suggested all sorts of things to me, and I said, I can't do that. And then they said, you've got to try anyway, and I'd try. And sometimes it would come off, you see. So we brethren each other. It's a communal thing. You can't say, I mean, you cannot say a comedian's not funny without a script. Sometimes out of desperation he has to do something, you know, or that a script plays itself. This is not true.
Hancock was born on Southern Road, Hall Green, Birmingham, but from the age of 3 he was brought up in Bournemouth, where his father, John Hancock, ran the Railway Hotel in Alderhurst Road, where he worked as a comedian and entertainer. After his father's death in 1934, Hancock and his brothers lived with their mother and stepmother, Robert Gordon Walker, at a small hotel called Gilston Court, Bournemouth. In 1942, during the Second World War, Hancock joined the RAF. Following a failed audition for the Entertainment National Service Association, ENSA, he ended up at the Ralph Reeder's Gang Show, touring production of Wings. After the war, he returned to the stage and eventually worked as a residential comedian at the Windmill Theatre, a venue which helped launch the careers of many comedians at the time. Between 1951 and 1952, for one series beginning on August 3rd, 1951, Hancock was a cast member of Educating Archie, in which he mainly played the tutor, or foil, to the nominal star of a ventriloquist dummy. His appearance in the radio show brought him national recognition, and the catchphrase he used frequently in the show was "Flipping Kids," became popular parlance. In the same year, he began to make regular appearances on BBC television's light entertainment shows Kaleidoscope, and almost starred in his own series, which was written by Larry Stevens, Hancock's Best Man at the First Wedding. In 1954, he was given his own eponymous BBC radio show, Hancock's Half Hour. Hancock moved to ATV in 1962 with different writers. The ATV series was transmitted in early 1963 on the same evening as the second series of Steptoe and Son, written by Hancock's former writers Galton and Simpson. Critical comparisons did not favour Hancock's series. Freddie Ross worked as his publicist from 1954 and became more involved in his life, eventually becoming his mistress. He divorced Cicely in 1965 and married Ross in December of the same year. This second marriage was short-lived. During these years, Hancock was involved with John Le Mesureur's new wife. Hancock's best friend was a regular supporting character actor from his television series. Joan was later to describe her relationship in the book Ladies Don't Fall Backwards, including the claim that her husband readily forgave the affair. He is quoted as saying that if it had been anyone else, he would not have understood it, but with Tony Hancock it made sense. In July 1966, Freddie took an overdose but survived, arriving at Blackpool to record an edition of his variety series. Hancock was met by pressmen asking about his wife's attempted suicide. The final dissolution of the marriage took place a few days before Hancock's own suicide. Hancock took his own life by overdose in Sydney on the 25th of July 1968, aged 44. I think I've actually found where it is because I recognise the two stones in front of it. It's in a weird spot at the back of the church. In fact, the whole place is a bit weird, to be honest. But yeah, yes I am. I know it now. We're here. 100% we're here. Got to be the weirdest one I've come to. Yep, there it is. Spin you around, look. I'll show you where we are, look. That's the back of the church. And this is where it is. Been some flowers there, which are dying now. And there we go, there it is. This is where his ashes are interred. In memory of Tony Hancock, born the 12th of May 1924, died the 25th of June 1968. And his mother, Lucia Lillian Sennett, born on the 4th of September 1890, died on the 8th of November 1969. Tony Hancock, you were a genius comedy-wise. You were absolutely a genius. It's a shame your life didn't go better. It's a shame you had so many demons. That is another example of somebody who's highly thought of, so successful, and they undervalued themselves. I read the book by Walter Staples that I've mentioned once before. I read a lot of books about psychology, and he said that they'd studied that the average person has average intelligence. The vast majority of people, unless they've got mental deficiencies. And that's not how people are always perceived, though. They sometimes think they're not so clever because they haven't passed a certain exam, or society sees it that way. But that's not the case. We all have different things to offer. A professor can be a great professor because he studies one subject only. And then you get another person, like a comedian like Tony Hancock. He has a vast knowledge of interaction with people, body language, what's funny, you know, it's timing. It's a great intelligence start. Staples thought that comedians are usually very sharp and intelligent, but you see, society didn't always see it that way. And so if anyone suggests to you that you're not so clever, take no notice, focus on what you can do and don't worry about what you cannot do. Jimmy Carr said that. He said at college he used to try and make him do the things that he wasn't good at, and he thought, why? I want to do the things I am good at, which once again is humour. So there's a lesson to be learned. Don't measure yourself on a certain subject against somebody else. Think about what you're good at. We all have things to offer. Could be music, you know, it could be anything, couldn't it? Just because we don't have general knowledge maybe that good, or we're not good at maths, not good at English, that's not us. That's not the entire us. So keep your confidence up. Tony Hancock destroyed himself through lack of confidence. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't want to rant. I don't. It's just, it gets a little bit sickening when you see. I did Lisa Zavaroni recently, and that was terribly sad. So let's have a good day from this rather slightly eerie place. I'm going to leave now, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Don't forget to subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss any future films. They're free. And a thumbs up and a comment would be great because I love those. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care from me, Alan. See you soon.